Hello, my name's Barry. I'd like to welcome you back to Christianity Explained. This week, I thought it would be a good idea to talk about the this hot topic of social justice. What does that actually mean? And how does it play with scripture? Hold on, but I know that I got some friends who probably love to chime in, but chill. There is a problem when it comes to that topic. It's a phrase that gets used left and right for just about everything, it seems. A good example is if you came up to me and say, "Oh, you liberals love group thinks and everything," I would be looking at you like you're smoking pot. Why? Because the actual meaning of that word is individual freedom, individual responsibility, individual this. It had nothing to do with groupthink or society or any of that. That is progressive, all right? Which sounds like it, but it's not. And that those two and the use of that term has caused a lot of confusion and headache. So the same principle applies here. Yesterday, I watched a video from a Dr. Vadi Boschman, hopefully I'm pronouncing it right, talking about defining the term. And I'm thinking, no, he's right. And I have a feeling there is confusion. And I thought I'd share some insight, part of his experience, and some of it will be research, and to marry it to scripture. Now, there's one thing I happen to actually agree with Dr. Bossman on. It's actually important that we do define our term correctly. Otherwise, they're going to be thinking I'm talking A when I'm actually talking B. I may be talking B and you're thinking A, and we have no clue what the other's talking about. And another important thought is to point to the scripture, because the fact is that's supposed to be our guideline as Christians before we go chasing off after anything. So the definition, I know it's important to spell out the fact that Scripture does speak of justice quite a bit. In fact, there's actually, well, he referenced a different verse, but I'm going to go to this proverb in Proverbs 21, verse 3. To do righteousness and justice is desired by the Lord more than sacrifice. I desire justice and mercy more than sacrifice. You see that theme all throughout Scripture. It's pure and simple. God cares about the poor. He cares about those who are in need. He wants us to practice business in a right way that respects other people, not take advantage, like pay your employees a fair wage, not exploit them, or not to do harm to the alien, whether they're here legally or not. It's no excuse to treat somebody who is working for you at a slave wage just because he's here illegally. Try working with the guy to become legal instead of exploiting. All right, that's kind of the view I have. I have some more conservative friends who say he needs to go back. All that we might debate on that, but we don't debate on paying a fair wage. And of course, they would say it should be American, but right now that's not where I'm going. Here's where I'm going, and this is why even I'll get a little confused with the term. Back in the mid '90s, I was involved with an organization called Arizona Bridge to Independent Living. And yes, those guys were, I would say they were more true liberal than they were progressive, because I didn't see any groupthink or identity politics at the time. And this was around 1996. And I really wasn't paying attention to politics at the time. Here's what we did. One, we were about helping people with disabilities, mainly wheelchair bound, in getting a job, connecting with employers who are willing to take a risk with them, helping them maybe to get some skill set to help them with living independently, maybe getting them connected with programs to modify their home so they can live independently. And yes, we would work with the city and I guess state, since we were in the state capital at the time, in some social reform that were needed. So I guess you would say we were activists or advocates for people with disabilities. At the time, I had a lot of crap that was going on inside that impeded my ability to really function. And in fact, one of them suggested I get a Christian support group at my church. I wish they had followed up that wise advice from a lady who was liberal, but she had enough more brains than other people I've seen. And she was right, I did. Now, I had originally thought, we were about lifting people. If they were economically depressed, it was because a lot of people who live with disability at the time were living on the poverty line. And that's not good. It's not good for anybody. It doesn't help that individual. It doesn't help any society, nothing. So, yeah, I guess you could say we were liberal in that. I don't recall anybody saying, okay, we need to blame and beat the crap out of our able-bodied citizens and make them miserable and all this. I didn't see that. We didn't put up with discrimination and bigotry, no. But we sure had to go around blaming people. That doesn't help. How the heck, why would anybody want to help us do reasonable accommodation if they think they're going to get their heads rammed to a wall? And some of those guys could have just said, power chair, right over. But that's the point. We went into the blame game. The director definitely was not putting up with any woe with me crap. And because I was slacking and taking responsibility for myself and taking advantage of a mentor, I got a holler from that lady. And she was right. I should have contacted that guy who was the pastor's kid, who could have been a major help, even bigger than she thought, probably. But see, that's the point. We were for individual freedom, individual liberty, and individual having the power to pursue the thing that's on their heart. I actually got into a minor friendly argument over whether a person with serious mental impairment could be a social worker. Okay. I was like, not so sure. But guess what? I respected her, she respected me. But I'm thankful for that. Does that sound like groupthink? Does that sound like identity politics? No, it wasn't. Yeah. But that's, I guess, at that time, I guess I would have thought social justice, but that really wasn't what we were. And Dr. Vardy did point out the value of looking up the term. Okay, Google, define social justice.
Here's the definition of social justice. Justice in terms of the distribution of wealth, opportunities, and privileges within a society.
And it goes on to say, individuality gives way to the struggle for social justice. That's not what we were about. We weren't about redistribution, but making sure people get paid a fair wage. I don't think Susan, the director, would have put up with people deliberately paying low wage to somebody merely because they're disabled. No. The goal was to get people off the poverty line and off social welfare and all that stuff. We wanted that, but there was also the issue of Medicaid and Medicare. There was a lot involved, and that's what we were doing. It doesn't fit this. I think they would have loved the Affordable Care Act, especially if it says, sorry, insurance, but you're not allowed to say no to the guy with pre-existing condition. I happen to agree with them with that. I would have agreed with them on that one. Not agree with taxpayer money going to pay for abortion. No, I'm sorry. No. But that was what it was all for. Now I ask you, how is that is not what you just heard the definition? So now why am I bothering with all this now? Well, unless you guys had your head under a rock, you're probably aware of the debates, especially in Christian circles, about social justice. How do we go about this? How do we correct the wrong that's going on? How do we make the change in the culture? Well, part of it is we have to take responsibility. Part of it is that we have to take some responsibility for ourselves. You see, one of my biggest problems was I had mental fears and anxiety, like that would plague me. It would kind of kept me from being proactive in getting a job. Sure, I would go and get a job, but somehow I set myself up for failure. That's not good. It's not good that if I'm projecting forward. Had I realized, known what I was doing, they could have actually helped. Heck, maybe one church could have helped too. But that's part of the problem that I'm hearing from my friends in the African American community. Okay, I don't have a life-threatening thing, but it's the same basic principle. I had a dear sweet friend, actually a couple, who said they sometimes experience anxiety when a cop is coming up. Now, those of us who are white, yeah, we don't think about it. We're not told constantly from the media and everybody else, oh, the cops, they're going to kill you if you do. We don't get that. But they hear that. They constantly. So it's like, okay, am I going to get a good cop or a bad cop? Or am I going to get, and that creates anxiety, fear. That doesn't help. By the way, folks, that's where the so-called, and I really do hate the term, even though I have a better understanding, white privilege coming from. And that's really what my black friends were trying to tell me. Gee, leave it to a comedian, Jimmy Kimmel, to do a better job than the social activists. Oh, very good, but I'm busting my own chop too. I'm hoping that this will start some conversation because I want to do some research and find out what the scripture actually says so that we're guided in our conversation with each other and helping. And because there really are some great principles in scriptures about doing justice. And hopefully this will serve as an intro because this is kind of challenging. I wanted to get some input from some people I know, and I'm looking forward to that. All right. I want to thank you for your time. Next time you're here, hopefully I'll have much better detail to go on and a little less rambling. Have a great day, and God bless. See you when I see ya.